Okay, if you want to see a triggered Rachel Maddow of MSNBC, this is the video for you.
Presidential contest in North Carolina. NBC News projects that the winner in the presidential race in the state of North Carolina is Donald Trump. This is our first projection of a result in any of the 7 big swing states. The first swing state to be projected by NBC News tonight is North Carolina, going to Donald Trump. Road to 270. Right now, Donald Trump stands.
See, she doesn't sound that upset yet. This is relatively neutral. I mean, you could tell in her voice she's not thrilled.
Stands at 230 electoral votes. Kamala Harris stands at 185. For the second time this evening, NBC News is able to make a projection in a battleground state. NBC News now projects that in the battleground state of Georgia in the presidential race, Donald Trump has prevailed in the presidential race in Georgia. So again, of our swing states, we've got 2 called thus far in Georgia and in North Carolina per NBC News. That puts the electoral map at Donald Trump with 246 electoral votes and Kamala Harris at 189 electoral votes. Again, both candidates aiming at 200. And
look, at this moment in the election, when MSNBC and NBC was starting to call these races, it was already looking very bleak for Kamala. It's hard to say exactly at this moment because I don't know the exact time, but at this moment, the betting markets were drastically in Trump's favor.
And 70. When the Trump campaign was getting very, very, very cocky about how they were going to do tonight. Very, very, very cocky. They started talking about expanding the map, expanding to Virginia, which they lost tonight to Kamala Harris. They talked about...
Oh no, they lost Virginia. How brutal.
Expanding the map to New Mexico, where they sent Donald Trump in the closing days. Now NBC News projects they have lost New Mexico to Kamala Harris as well.
Oh no, this sounds like liberal cope, classic liberal cope.
NBC News has a projection to make in the presidential contest in the swing state of Pennsylvania. NBC
Oh no.
News now projects that presidential contest has been won by Donald Trump.
It's over.
Now, I believe that means that we are 266 electoral vote count.
I mean, how does she sound right now? Just so monotone. This does not sound like a happy person.
For Donald Trump. Kamala Harris at 194 electoral votes. So to be clear here, this is the third of the 7 major swing states that have been called. But Georgia and North Carolina and Pennsylvania, as those 3 states, presents an almost unless there's it presents an
she can't even get it out.
Insurmountable future here for Kamala Harris and for the Democratic ticket. New Jersey.
Totally insurmountable, because at this point, Trump was at 266. You need 270 to win, 269 to tie. Alaska, you can see it's kind of hard to see actually right here where my cursor is, had not been called. It's like not a swing state. It's going to go to Trump in all likelihood for sure. That brings him to 269. And then I believe there's also like one of these congressional districts, which is not a swing district. I don't think that was called for Trump in Maine at this point. I'm pretty sure on that, but that would have brought him to 270. I mean, I think that has to be correct based on the math. And then also at this point, though, Arizona and Nevada. Nevada was like close-ish, but not really. It was still way leaning Trump. Arizona, though, Trump was way ahead even at this point in the night, except Arizona is just very slow at counting their elections.
Okay. New Jersey, believe it or not, was one of the states that the Trump campaign was sort of bragging on. Were they able to expand the map? They said that New Jersey was one of those states they'd be able to win. They said the same thing about Virginia. They said the same thing about Minnesota. They have not been able to expand the map, but they have won important.
Who cares? He won. He won easily. And he actually almost won New Jersey, which is incredible. He was very close in New Jersey, which would have been unthinkable a year ago.
Swing states already that have put them on the precipice. 266 electoral votes right now for Trump, 218 for Kamala Harris.
Breaking news from the decision desk. NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president.
Oh, that's so funny. That's Jen Psaki talking. Does she sound thrilled? She sounds like she's giving some person sitting at a table, sorry, your meal's going to be 3 hours delayed, our oven's out, something like that. She does not sound happy whatsoever.
And for so many of you watching right now, that news is, to say the least, a lot to digest. I understand that personally. I understand that personally. After he lost 4 years ago, he refused to accept the outcome and incited a
Yeah, she sounds unbiased. Listen to this.
violent insurrection on our nation's capital. He's campaigned while facing criminal indictments related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 results, and he's run as a convicted felon. During this campaign, he has also promised to essentially be an authoritarian leader, to use power like no American president ever has before, and wield that power to go after his political enemies. This is a man who's also bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade and stripping away women's bodily autonomy.
I mean, lady, can you chill? Listen to this.
He's promised to conduct mass deportations to crack down on the rights of millions of Americans. Donald Trump is an anti-democratic force, but he's just been elected democratically in our country. And here's what might be the hardest part to hear, but we have to talk about and we have to say, and it is a hard part to digest for all of us. But we have to be honest about what we saw in this election. Donald Trump was elected by expanding his support over a number of key groups that were going to...
Maybe people are anxious or they consider this bad news because they're listening to shows like this. No wonder MSNBC's ratings tanked following the election. Listen to her talk about Donald Trump just won. It's not supposed to be the immediately back to partisanship. Just report the news. She went on like a minute-long rant there that was incredibly hyperbolic, incredibly negative toward Trump. No wonder people don't respect or listen to MSNBC anymore for the most part.
We've been digging into this all night tonight as we anticipated where this was headed, and I know we're going to dig into it throughout the course of the day today. And there will be a lot of time spent on how and why he won and what this will mean for the country over the next 4 years and beyond. But in this moment, it's also important to remember that our democracy is not built around one person or one job. And I have every confidence that pro-democracy forces in this country will continue to stand up and make their voices heard.
We have one more state to call. Donald Trump adding to his electoral count. NBC now projects he is the winner of Michigan and its 15 electoral votes, state that Joe Biden won in 2020 by nearly 3 points. Now Donald Trump is the winner there.
Donald Trump is now returning to the White House after an historic political realignment. Mr. Trump swept all 7 battleground states after NBC News projected overnight that he won Arizona. He also tore down.
Not to brag, right before the election, my map, I had 49 of 50 states called correctly. The only one I missed, I put Pennsylvania blue, which turned out to be a bad call, but 49 out of 50, that's not bad.
The Democratic blue wall and is poised to become the first Republican in 2 decades to win the national popular vote.
You're awake, by the way.
This is a throwback to 2016.
You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
That's funny. That's a great 2016 throwback there of Maddow, Rachel Maddow being upset. Now, following 2016, though, MSNBC actually had like a pretty big spike in ratings. Rachel Maddow personally did great. It looks like it's going to be the opposite now. Many people do not trust MSNBC. Trump just won popular vote, presidency, Senate, House, at least the Republicans won. I think more importantly, the culture, not more importantly, but less obvious, the Republican side seems to be winning the culture war for the first time in a very long time. I also think that's very important. So with that said, I'll finish the video here, but hope you had fun watching this video. I guess fun's kind of a weird way to say that, but I hope you had a few laughs. But anyway, I'll finish it here. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.